I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and today we shoot for the stars with month 1 of our 2025 charity quilt benefiting Make-A-Wish. Stardust is our 12th annual charity quilt-along benefiting Make-A-Wish Central and South Texas. Our exclusive quilt kit includes all of the fabric to complete the quilt blocks, along with the background and binding, as well as this canvas tote bag. We also have a Stardust backing set that's sold separately. It comes with an exclusive binding holder. We are also offering a limited edition Fat Quarter Shop teddy bear for the first 500 people that donate $75 or more to our Make-A-Wish campaign. A companion cross-stitch pattern is also available for free, so make sure to subscribe to our Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube YouTube channel so you can share your stitching progress with us. First, you're going to download your fabric requirements and month 1 for free from fatquartershop.com. For month 1, you only need 2 print fabrics and 1 background fabric. And this kit features the Summertime Collection by Camille, Roskelley, and Moda fabrics. This block uses a lot of half square triangles, and I'm going to show you the traditional way, which is how this pattern is written. But if you want more accurate half square triangles, you can purchase the H400 and H600, and I'm going to show you that method so you can see both methods and decide what works best for you. Now that we have all of our supplies, let's get started. Your first step is on page 1 to do all of your cutting. If you're going to be using the triangle paper, which is H400 and H600, you're not going to cut according to these sizes. You're going to follow the instructions on the paper. If you're not going to use triangle paper, just cut exactly like we have written in the pattern. On page 2, we're going to start with the square and a square unit, which is going to be the center of your star. And that's why we're starting there, because we're going to build the star out from this. So you're going to take your 4 fabric eye squares, and I'm going to take a friction pin and draw a line from corner to corner. The more accurate you draw your line, the more accurate your block will come out. Then you will take your fabric A square, and you're going to start on 2 opposing corners. And what I like to do here is really take my time and line up this top fabric exactly with the bottom fabric. And if you put 3 pins in, you're going to get a more accurate result. So after I pin, I'm going to turn this over, and I should not see any of that navy fabric poking through. And on the front, I should not see any of the white fabric. Now your lines are right here. I'm going to be using Aurifil 2000 on this quilt. You can use a white or any type of light beige. I'm going to take a foot that's open, and I'm going to stitch directly on that line. Once that is sewn, I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch away from the drawn line and press. Once I do that, it will look exactly like this. And you can see I have a really nice angle on both sides. Then I will add the remaining 2 squares. And I used to think, pinning, it takes so much time. But I think if you try it once, you will see the difference in the accuracy than if you don't pin. Then you're going to sew exactly on those lines. And when you sew, if you start right at the tip and end right at the tip, you're going to get a nice 1/4 inch seam right here. Then you will trim a 1/4 inch away and press according to the pattern. Your square and a square unit should be 8.5 inches square, and I'm going to show you how that looks with an 8.5 inch square ruler. So if you take an 8.5 inch square ruler, it should be perfectly accurate. If you have any excess fabric, you would want to trim it. But when you look, the 1/4 inch line on your ruler should match exactly right here. So I do challenge you, start off the quilt with a really nice square and a square that's accurate. before you move on. We're going to make our first half square triangles, and for every square you need half. So we're going to be making 16 half square triangles. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to cut right here. It's important to cut exactly on the line, as accurate as possible. Once you've cut your paper, you want your fabric to be about 1/2 inch bigger than your paper. So you're going to take your first print fabric, which is your blue plaid, and your background, and you're going to cut 2 rectangles that are 10 by 21. Once you have your paper, you're going to put your fabrics right sides together, which is super important, and then lay your paper flat on the top. Put lots of pins so it's nice and flat. Anything that's bumpy is going to give you either an oversized or undersized half square triangle. Then you're going to sew on the dotted lines. Now here, for our sample, we have used red thread so you could see those stitches. In real life, you're going to use cream. Once you've sewn this, you want to cut on your 4 outside edges. And just like I said, stitching directly on that line, not to the left, not to the right. You want to cut exactly on the line. And that is the key to getting accurate half square triangles when you're using triangle paper. Now from here, I could cut across here and then make 4 cuts, but I find that that's not as accurate. So what I like to do is just divide this in half. It'll be a little bit more manageable. You want to do your horizontal cuts first and then your diagonal cuts. You want to make your horizontal cuts accurate. Your diagonal cuts, you want it to be closely accurate, but it is in your seam allowance, so it does not have to be perfect. Do the same thing on the remaining fabrics. So here are your 16 half square triangles. I'm going to show you how to pull the paper. The most accurate way is to put a crease and pull. One thing I forgot to mention is when you're using half square triangle paper, whatever stitch length you normally do, you want to go down about 2 notches. And what that's going to do is make that paper come off nice and easy. Now I'm going to show you how to iron. The first thing you're going to do is just set your iron on there for like 3 seconds. That is called setting your seam, and it sounds funny, but it actually locks your stitches in place. Then you'll finger press to one side and then press, and you want to put the edge of the iron right on that crease. From here, I'm going to take the little corners off. Sometimes we call these dog ears. Turn that over, and we're going to press this open. And what I like to do is finger press first, then run the iron from one end to the edge with the tip right in the center. Then you're going to turn this over and do one more press and make sure this is nice and flat. Now this step is totally not needed, but I want to show you how accurate triangles on a roll paper is. If you put a 4.5 inch square ruler on top, it is going to be exactly 4.5 inches. Now here are all 16 of your half square triangles, and if you use the triangle paper, this was really fast. If you use the traditional method, it will just take a little bit longer, but you will still get nice half square triangle units. Now our second batch of half square triangles uses the green print and the background. On your instructions, it tells you to make 8. If you take 8 divided by 2, that means you need 4 squares of H400 paper. It looks like this. You're going to take an 11 inch square of both of these fabrics, put them right sides together, put your fabric on top, stitch directly on those lines, and cut exactly like I showed you. And here are the half square triangles that you've just made. They also measure 4.5 inches square. Now we're going to assemble our units, and it's really important to pay attention to the direction of your fabric. So your top left unit is going to have your green in the top left, your background in the bottom right, and your whites facing in. You're going to stitch with a 1/4 inch seam, press according to the pattern, and this is your top left corner unit. And this is how the back looks, and this is how the front looks. Our next unit is going to have your navy plaid in the top right, your background in the bottom left, a green half square triangle, and a navy half square triangle with your whites in the center. It's going to look like this once it's pieced, and you're going to make one top right corner unit. Your next unit is going to have your background in the top right, your navy in the bottom left, a green half square triangle in the top left, a navy half square triangle in the bottom right, and again, backgrounds facing in. And this is going to be your bottom left corner unit, and you're going to make one. Your last corner unit is going to have your background in the top left, navy bottom right, 2 navy half square triangle units with those backgrounds also facing in, and you're going to make one bottom right corner unit. So in summary, we're building our star, and I just kind of want to show you how your units should look before you move on. Now we are going to be putting units here. I just kind of wanted to show you how that looks overall, just for a nice visual. Now we're going to make some star points, and because of the design, this is going to be different than what you would normally do. For one of your star units, you're going to use 2 green and 2 blue, and you're going to make an arrow with these background fabrics. And you're going to make 2 of these green and blue star point units. Your next star point unit is going to use 4 half square triangles, and your arrow is going to go this direction, and you're going to make 2 of these star point units. Now we've made all of our units for the first star block, and I'm going to show you how to put those together. This is your Stardust block, and you're going to lay that out with your square and a square first, and then your 4 corner units that we made, then your 2 star point units. Just make sure you're really looking at the diagram on the pattern so all of your fabrics go the same way. And I'm going to show you a trick on using design boards. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put the top 2 here, the second 2 here. This is larger than a design board, so you kind of have to make do. So now what I'm going to do is go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew all the way down. But what I want to do before I do that is pin everything. So I'm going to first pin at the beginning and the end of each unit. And then right here, these 2 points need to match. So what I like to do here is poke the pin through this point and this point. So from the back, right in the point, and then right in this point. Make it nice and flat, remove your pin, and place it back down. Now I'm going to sew straight down, and I'm going to put a couple stitches in between, and those are going to just be stitches that hold it together, and I'll show you that, and you'll see how the chain just stays together. And when I'm stitching, I am using a 1/4 inch seam. So I have this sewn together, and you can see my block stayed in order with those little stitches in between. You want to set your seam like I showed you earlier and press according to the pattern. So now I have these little chains here. I actually like to leave those in place. So what I'm going to do is just put the remaining pieces in order on my board, and I'm going to pin at the sewing machine using that same technique and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. So you can see I have my block all chain pieced together, and that keeps it from moving and me putting everything in the wrong spot. So what I'm going to do is put this right sides together, pin using that same technique. I'm going to move this out of the way, put this right sides together, pin using the same technique, and I'm going to sew both with a 1/4 inch seam. So this is your Stardust block. It should measure 24.5 inches unfinished. You should have nice points, and this is the bottom right of your quilt if you're wondering. So we made the Stardust block, which is down here. Now like I said, we're gonna make the top and the left, and that's gonna make 4 green half square triangles and 2 blue half square triangles. I'm gonna show you the same method because you're gonna do that on both. You're gonna put your print fabric right sides together. I'm gonna pin 3 times on each side. That will keep the fabric from shifting when I sew. Then I'm gonna draw a line from corner to corner. It's easier to do on the background fabric because it's easier to see. Then I'm gonna draw a line 1/4 inch away and then turn that over and do another 1/4 inch. You can use any marking tool you like. I like to use the friction pin. It will disappear with heat later. Then you're gonna stitch on your outer lines, and that is going to look just like this. Then you will cut on the center line. And same as with the triangle paper, 1 square will make 2 half square triangles. Now with the traditional method, you'll need to trim your half square triangle down, and you're going to use the size on the pattern. I like to use the Creative Grids square rulers. This is the 6.5 inch size. Place the diagonal line on the seam, and you want to make sure you have a little bit of fabric on each edge so you can trim that down. So I'm going to trim 2 sides, rotate, trim the other 2 sides, and when you're done, you're going to have 2 navy half square triangles and 4 green half square triangles. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the piece that goes on the left side of the star. So you're going to lay out your fabrics just like this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin all of these together at the same time. Now I'm going to put this on my design board, and I'll sew each seam one at a time. So now I'm going to attach this. You only have 1 seam to line up, so you're just going to pin at each end that 1 seam and then throughout. Sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Now we're going to do that top row the same way, and I'm going to pin all at once, sew all at once, and then we just have the very last seam. And here's your last seam. This is the only seam that has to line up, pin, and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Now here's round 1 of the 2025 Stardust Charity Quilt Along at Fat Quarter Shop. Next month, we're going to be adding round 2, which is the top and left of the quilt, so make sure to join us for that assembly. Please donate to our Make-A-Wish campaign. The link is in the description box. And share with us on social media using our hashtag so I can see all of the beautiful quilts that you make. And I'll see you on round 2.